But basically, I'll start with one general remark, which was made by some of the participants in some of the roundtables, that there are already too many networks, especially at European levels. Sorry, it's a bit provocative. At different levels with different focus, offering different services. So obviously, if there is to be a European Cluster Managers Club, it would have to be a pretty good one and ensure that it's representative and it does add value. Before answering the question, what is it for, I think it helps to clarify by saying who is it for. And listening to what you were saying about what is a cluster manager, to me it's about practitioners. So obviously it's not for policymakers. So it's people who are practical, have to deal with real issues, difficult ones at times. So that already gives a sort of flavor of what kind of objectives this club will have. Even though there were some people who still thought there was to be a policy-making dimension to it, but the consensus was practitioners. One aspect also we addressed was that should it be branch-specific? The answer was generally no. It should be of a transversal nature, but with the possibility to have special interest groups, especially when dealing with training issues, because obviously if you have people who deal with IT or biotech, and that goes without saying in very different other fields, if you address training as part of what the remit of this particular club, then you have to be a bit more specific. So then you have to look in the special working group. But it can be transversal. It can involve managers from clusters from different fields. That leads me to the what. So if it is for practitioners, what should it do? And here I think, and I will take the concept that Daniel picked up from his roundtable, which is the notion of value-added services. So we had expressions such as exchange of experiences, exchange of best practice among practitioners, peer review, and personally that's a concept that I am very familiar with because I did a lot of that in previous jobs. Peer review among, obviously, clusters. Training, obviously, I've just mentioned that. There was even the fact of maybe awarding a Best Managers Award. So there could be the Best European Cluster Managers Award. Not like the European Eurovision Song Contest, obviously. Something a bit more serious. Lobbying was also mentioned, and that was a kind of a sore issue and a sticky point because the lobbying obviously is always very sensitive in terms of what it should be for, and obviously because it's a European Managers Club, it should address lobbying at EU level. And the idea, if I can summarize, but Daniel, if you have other views on that, the lobbying was to push forward the European clusters agenda. What else? We mentioned also information, about funding, for instance, at EU level, and then have some tools, share tools and have tools available. Collaborative platform was mentioned. The last point, and it's obviously a tricky one, is how do you fund such an organization? So it's the more than the governance, the funding. So it's the willingness to pay. And that comes back to the value-added services. Overall, I would say there was one wing saying, yes, if it's worth it, I'm prepared to pay some things, such as a membership fee. So if it's valuable, if it brings me good things, if I can improve the way that we operate in our organization, yes, I'm willing to pay. Others were not so keen on doing that, especially thinking that if I'm already a member of a particular organization, maybe I can get a rebate if I belong to this one or have special advantages in joining. But overall, that we were talking about a membership-based organization. And what we didn't manage to solve is who should be members of it, whether it should be an elite club or whether it should be open for everyone type of club. That it was obviously two different schools there. People saying it should be even kind of a VIP club. Others saying no, it should be open to all types of clusters from all different levels. So that raises obviously a number of issues, whether there should be a core group in it with a membership base which should be wide. We couldn't go into the details, even though, as you know, the devil is in the detail, and that would probably command a lot of the solutions or the answers to the question. I think that's it, really.